Hello, my name is Joe Bauer and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this update, I'm going to talk about something that I changed about hypercycling. That's the main thing that's happened this week. And the question came up in my comments again about how to be playful and avoid ritual when you get up to hypercycling. And this is kind of a problem because when you first start off, you're looking at every image as you go around, and you already have to sit there and focus on what you're doing, and it's difficult. But still, you're not doing anything else. You're just working on this when you first start. It requires all of your attention. And so then, if you're going to be playful and avoid ritual, you can kind of add that in without being distracted from something else that you're supposed to be doing. But when you go up to hypercycling, you kind of want it to run on autopilot. You want the whole thing to run smoothly. You want to know that it's running. You don't have to be looking at the icon all the time, I assume. But whether you're looking at your spinning icon or not, you want it to just kind of run in the background, and you want to be able to go on about your day and do whatever it is that you need to do during the day without having to be distracted by this whole cycling thing you have going on. But that's difficult if you're trying to avoid ritual and be playful, because that requires, once again, that you get consciously involved and you start altering things, and you have to start messing around with the whole thing until you reach a point of being playful again. And so that can be very distractive if you have things that you need to be doing that require your attention. So I got to thinking about that, and then at about the same time, this is like nearly a week ago now, I started listening to a Neville Goddard lecture called Self-Talk Creates Reality, I believe it is. But he talks about self-talk. That's all the whole thing is. And he talks about how important our inner voice is, or even our outer voice, but especially how important our inner voice is in directing our attention, and therefore directing our thoughts and our behavior and our whole direction and everything. And I thought about that, and I thought, that could really be applied playfully and to avoid ritual to hypercycling, because it's not having to require a lot of intense imagery, really, and also we talk on the inside of our mind all the time anyway. Everybody, it's universally something that we all do at all times. So I thought about that, and then I took it a step further, and I thought back to about 1995. I remember I bought a cassette series by Richard Bandler, and this was a series that had about 10 cassette tapes in it. It was called Magical States. And Richard Bandler, throughout this whole tape series, he talks about how we can alter the sound of our voice in order to change how we feel. Now, that's not all that he talks about. He tells stories and everything else, but this one topic comes up continually throughout the whole series. And so he talks about how we can change, the tone of our voice, the volume, the speed, the rhythm, the pitch, and just anything about our voice we can change. Kind of changes the way that we feel as we go. And not only does it apply to our own inner voice, but our outer voice, and then also how we can alter someone else's voice. So like, maybe if there's a room full of people and they're all talking and we don't really want to listen to them, that we could turn their voices into an orchestra. He talks about, and how we could set up kind of a horn section here and a string section and have it all going on. And I got to think about all that, and I thought, well, if we're going to speak to our icon during the day and not be too distracted, we could speak to it in phrases, we could speak to it about it running all the time, and the icon could speak back to us and be like, yeah, we're spinning really fast today, whatever you want to make up for that. Any cartoon voices and any dialogue. But while we're all, you remember in the last video I talked about how we go from this solid, tangible imagery and sensory detail all the way to spinning really fast, and how it goes up to being a symbolic representation of everything when we lose track of all detail. So the same thing could apply to sound, to the sound of voice. If at the moment we don't want to, kind of make up any kind of a dialogue to go with it, we could just have the icon kind of speak to us in a trumpet melody or a saxophone melody, so it could be speaking. People say that instruments, speak to them. So you could have just a trumpet melody. It could just be just da 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 da, whatever it does, and it could be but it could be speaking to us, and it could have the meaning that it's spinning. It could be basically saying, okay, I'm spinning. You don't have to stop and put your attention on me right now. I'll be spinning all day and all night, and no. It could be whatever you think it is. But it could be a way to add playfulness to the hypercycling without having to stop and put your attention on ways of making it playful. If you can just do it in a sound of an instrument or a voice, whether it has words or not, then it doesn't have to be very visual, I guess, as long as you still kind of connect with it. Anyway, but that's just experimental completely. That's not anything that I've learned on any Bengston videos or anything. It's just something that I thought of. If you're working with the Bengston method, maybe you can try doing this just to see what happens. But it seems like while everything is all symbolic and abstract anyway, that it could evoke a playfulness without having to go into the imagery. I think you guys understand what I mean by that. So if you want to play around with that and leave any comments in the comments section, let me know if that helps any. Let me know if you even think that would work, because I really don't know. It's been less than a week since I thought of this, and I don't know yet. It's just very experimental, so just try it, see what happens, let me know, and that's about it for this week. Okay, so I want to thank you all for joining me and watching this video, and I'll see y'all next time, and may you see clearly in 2020. Thank you.